Corporal Hicks pulls from his back a pretty basic looking pump action 12 gauge with a pistol grip. It's sort of incongruous for a sci-fi film. I was looking on Gunbroker and I saw this particular model and it instantly clicked that this should have been the shotgun used in the movie Aliens, as I just described. Hey guys, Jimmy G, the Italian Guerilla Gorilla here. Have you ever watched a movie, a sci-fi movie, you know, something that happens in the future, and you're looking at the weapons that they're using? Often they use modern weapons that are mocked up to look a certain way. But have you ever seen one where you're like, that's really out of place for something that should be in the future? Well, in this episode, I'm going to walk you guys through a process, a creative process, where I saw a firearm on Gunbroker, and it just clicked something in my head and said, that should have been in a movie that happened 20 years ago. And the movie in question is Aliens from 1986 with Sigourney Weaver, Bill Paxton. You know, but before we get into all the content of this video today, if you like this kind of content, you like what we're doing here on this channel, do me a favor. Click the like button. Leave a comment. That would be great. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what I'm putting out. And also subscribe and maybe ring the notification bell so you get notified every time one of my videos uploads. So you might remember from the movie Aliens, there's a scene where the Colonial Marines are going throughout LV-426, and they're told that they can't use live ammo because it could set off a nuclear explosion on the planet if they rupture the core. So they collect up all the magazines and stuff. But Corporal Hicks pulls from his back a pretty basic looking pump action 12 gauge with a pistol grip. You know, and as we can see from this scene, it's pretty much a standard off the shelf Winchester 1300 Defender, something like that. You know, it just has that quintessential 80s action look, but it's sort of incongruous for a sci-fi film. So basically what had happened was about 3 or 4 months ago, I was looking on Gunbroker and I was interested in purchasing another shotgun. And I saw this particular model and it instantly clicked that this should have been the shotgun used in the movie Aliens, as I just described. Instead of that basic pump action, if this had existed then, this is what they should have used. And the gun that I'm talking about today is the Kel-Tec KS7. It is a bullpup design weapon and it's a 12 gauge shotgun. Its bigger brother is the Kel-Tec KSG, which if you remember, if you're a shotgun enthusiast, you remember had twin mag tubes there for a larger carry capacity. However, it is a lot bulkier. So basically the biggest complaint that I had seen is that it was difficult to load ammunition because people felt that it got cramped up, crimped up, or stopped at the spring and to load it in there. But there's actually like a little trick, and it's really doesn't take any more or less time to do it. Instead of cramming straight in from the hole there, you push it down at a 45-degree angle, lower it in, and it goes right in just like that. Now, what's also great about this firearm, because of all the ammunition feeding from here, it also ejects from the same port. So we'll load it, and then here's the ejection. I like that. It drops straight down. It doesn't interfere with anything. It's not throwing brass all over the place. When I get done on the range, it's literally at my feet. So let me take you through from tutor to shooter what I did with this firearm to make it look like it belonged in the Aliens franchise world of the future, okay? Really very little, because it already has a very cool futuristic look to it anyway. But I did have to do a couple different things. Let's start off with the coloring. So first of all, I took a Rust-Oleum high temperature automotive primer, and I had blocked off or take off all the metal parts of the barrel and down in here as well, and some other key areas. But then everything else got the primer treatment. After I did that, I laid down some Rust-Oleum camo, their 2X Ultra cover in the army green. So it gives it that nice flat matte army green look like you'd see on vehicles and other weapons. But I wanted you to also have to add to the aesthetic, right? So this already came with it. This is a lower rail mod attachment by High Tech Custom Concepts. And this really enhances the look. The way the normal forend looks without this on it, it's okay. It just doesn't look alien-like or whatever. So fortunately for me, this already came with the purchase. From back here, we'll go ahead. This is a Bomeek recoil pad, and it also has a grip filler for storage plug here to keep water and dirt from getting stuck into there. And this grip pad really does, I mean, the stock pad really does provide a lot of shock absorption from the weapon. Everything is straight back in your shoulder, but this really takes a lot of the kick out of it. Moving on, I added these stickers. I can't remember. I got them from some couple of different makers on Etsy, but you can find them on there. And I weathered them, of course, to look like it's been used, put in and out of a weapons rack. I also stenciled it with a number, just rando number there. And Tank. Tank was my radio call sign in both my tours in Afghanistan with different organizations that I was doing work with. Then I also have on here a Votatu 2400 lumen flashlight. Now, that's nothing special, really. It's fairly inexpensive, but it looks very sci-fi, I think, and really fit the aesthetic quite well, especially after I did the weathering. After I did this weapon up, I was invited by a friend of my brother's, who is now a great friend of mine, Jake Akuna from VFX2GO, who wanted to reach out to me to set up a YouTube channel. And we decided that we were going to really kick things off and do a very cool movie based on the concept that I described to him about on the KS7. And through his expert Hollywood sorcery, we have the movie that you probably have just seen, Alien Extraction, featuring this firearm. So to talk about what we used for that, we knew we had to do the shooting scenes. We didn't want to use live ammo because of angles where we would be filming or Jake would be filming. It could present a potential danger. So I went to BolandFX.com, and they make all kinds of specialty FX rounds for firearms, basically blanks. So this is what they call their full load 12 gauge blank. And you can see there's just basically powder and then some sawdust here. See how she looks, shall we? Cool. Woo! Well, those are awesome. Way smokier than I would have imagined. Pretty cool. These things worked so well. It was very dynamic, a lot of smoke, a lot of flame. Super loud, which was cool. I mean, way louder than a standard 12 gauge round, but 100% safe for our application.
3, 2, 1.
Now, the other thing we did too was we did some filming late at night where we use Dragon's Breath rounds, which are just freaking awesome. And we used them on my flat range where Jake was at a safe distance and could get some good video of it.
Fire! 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 Oh, Jesus.
So guys, the last item I want to talk about was the motion sensor. You can't make an Alien or Aliens movie and not have a motion sensor, right? And there are a different couple according to Canon, how they look. But I went with the one that the Colonial Marines had. This is a 3D printed kit. It came in like 1 million pieces. And I was like, oh boy, I'm not really the best with mechanics and stuff. So I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. But I was able to put it together over several hours without a problem. But it did have some construction challenges. First and foremost, here on the front, there was originally some kind of like, there would be a plate there, right? And that was sort of the sensor where it received the motion, or I don't send it out, its signal, whatever. But I had this leftover old smartwatch, but I thought that the look was better. It looked more like a sensor, and it had more of a space age kind of look. So we went ahead and CA glued that on there. The other thing was there was cabling issues as well. They called for a whole bunch of like cables that had to be like shrink wrapped around certain things, blah, blah. I just didn't have the bandwidth for that, and I didn't feel like going to Lowe's and trying to find all this stuff, so I decided to improvise. So what I did here with this is I used one of those bendy barbecue grill lighters that you get at the grocery store to do this connection here. And then here, this called for some other big heavy cable. I just used an old leftover HDMI cable, cut off the inserts on the end and plugged them in like that. Again, I painted this up using Citadel paints, Army Painter paints on Amazon. You can buy all those different shades. Pretty cool for modeling, and it looked, I think this looks very realistic. The last challenge we had was the monitor screen. So the monitor screen, it's not electric as it's built, but we wanted to have something that would cast out that computer screen light. Well, Jake had a leftover piece of this luminous plastic sheeting, which he expertly placed in there. We got it glued in there, and then attached to the sensor is its actual remote. So we just push the remote, and you can see we get that great green glow from it. And then we could have done this with a little strobe or a slow flash. But anyway, I thought this came out really cool. It certainly enhanced the flavor of our production. I couldn't have done it without Jake. You guys got to check out his stuff. If you're not already liking him, look at his social media and like him. Okay, guys, that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed this content. I hope you've enjoyed the Alien Extraction movie short fan film that Jake Akuna from VFX2GO and I put together. We had a lot of fun making it. You'd be surprised at how many hours and hours and hours goes into making even just that almost just under 2-minute video. So if you did like it, please, again, hit subscribe, hit the like button, ring the bell for notifications. And please feel free to check out my website, www.gorillagym.com. There you'll find links to my Instagram. There's lots of blogs and companion blogs. And then also our merch shop where you get some cool Gorilla Gym product like this coffee mug, t-shirt, caps, sweatshirts, etc. And there's a couple different designs as well. So that would be cool. I'd like to see those out in the wild. That would help me out a lot. Anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks again for coming here and checking it out. Jimmy G, the Italian Guerilla Gorilla, out of here.